and welcome back to Flowers in the Autumn Time. The last time we were together, I guess they started kind of looking up, like obviously things weren't pretty bad with the whole Ringo and Yuzuriha dating thing. They got caught, but they sort of found a way to kind of continue being able to see one another and still just kind of fulfilling needs that one another kind of needed to be just better people. Like they are the nourishment each other needs, I guess. That's a probably a dumb and weird way to put that, but that's just where my brain went at the moment. But this also, of course, led to a pretty big situation where apparently Ringo got injured trying to meet up with Yuzuriha one night, and now we, for some reason, think a werewolf did it. Yeah, this series just kind of goes off the rails sometimes, doesn't it? Dude, it's a mystery. The 7 mysteries of St. Angraecum, and we are just tearing through them at a fever pitch. So it's time to go wolf hunt. Let's do it. Sure, I got myself all fired up over it, but we're done. All right, y'all. That was a fantastic episode. I'd like to, of course, thank you as always for taking the time to, of course, kidding. I hadn't reckoned with the fact that my ostracization would prove such an encumbrance. I want to hear what people have to say, but they're not coming to me. Like the small fry afraid of the big scary catfish. Since I arrived at the academy, or rather since I decided to be the person I am today, I've always had people around me, so I can endure this situation for a little while. Because I'd been prudent, I've got through without having to face up to the reality I've been avoiding. I'm real good at just running away from things. Since I still heard anything of importance and I received daily correspondences, I hadn't seen it myself. I look out at the dormitory building, huddling in under itself in wintry skies, and heave a heavy sigh. Wallowing in my own fecklessness, I hear a voice from behind and scratch my neck as I sluggishly turn around. Hi, how you doing? Fancy meeting you here. I had an internal yes. I get it, Nety. She's the one who's been avoiding me and who I've been going out of my way to avoid. Why is she taking my hand right now? Let's rewind. Yes, please do. What happened here? I was at the chapel where Ringo was attacked. Fully resolved to go werewolf hunting, I'd gone back first thing in the morning and thoroughly scrutinized the area all over again. A few days had passed, so by this point, even my own footprints had disappeared, but with my camera in hand, I had searched around the building to see if the attacker had left anything behind. I'd made faster work of it than I had in the dark on the night of the incident, but in the end, I still couldn't find anything that might help pinpoint the culprit. In the afternoon, I'd attempted to gather testimonies from other students, but had been forced to acknowledge that their reticence toward me was even more pronounced than I had realized. Classes had ended without me making any progress. Then, after quickly dealing with various matters in the Council of Nicaea, I returned to my investigation. And that was when, feeling eyes watching me from a fixed distance, I took myself off to a secluded area. Come out, werewolf! What you doing? I called out to my pursuer from within the rose bushes, but received no Still nothing.
リンゴを返したものか?
There was still absolutely no response from whoever was following me. Yeah, you're probably gonna sound real crazy here just hollering to yourself. Come on, stop following me, jerk! I picked up a pair of gloves that had been left behind from pruning the bushes, turned one inside out, and used it to roll them both into one ball. I can throw a mean curveball! Imitating famed picture Choji Murata, whom Yaigaki-kun talks so passionately about, I swung my leg like a pendulum and launched the balled-up gloves at my target bush. Oh! We actually hit someone! Nice! Well, I guess this is one way to patch things up, or to just, you know, pretend it never happened. Nety says as we walk to the next club, after class, we'd come to the club building to ask around for information. And, you know, like tailing behind somebody, hiding behind bushes, hiding behind corners of buildings. That's like the perfect way to, you know, really psych yourself up to talk to somebody. She stops, her cheeks rosy red. Well, I mean, I don't think you were wrong in the moment, and you know, like somebody encroaching upon your physical space in a way that maybe is not cool if you've kind of made your point that no, this can't be a thing. So I don't think she was necessarily wrong in you know, getting a little physical. Her words freeze me to the spot too. I hadn't expected her to bring that up now. A cynical smile rises to my face. She's always had a way of ruffling my feathers. I don't think she'd have, you know, much ground to be. She's true to herself, I think. That's pretty ballsy, to be honest with yourself like that. She makes a sign of the cross over her chest. I mean, probably that might have kind of... I mean, it probably could have helped, but like, what role do you really have in this? Like, it's so weird. Like, I think maybe you could just tell it like, hey, everybody, you're acting really weird about this. Regret permeates her every word, and I can tell, even without peeping through the windows of her eyes, that she really means it. Her words shake something deep within me. If I'm not careful, I could let slip those decisive words. However, yeah, not the most popular girl in the school anymore. That boy, again, how the turns have tabled. I force myself to speak jokingly, and she puts a hand to her mouth to cover an elegant laugh. Do you think that Nerine is an oh ho 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 kind of girl? Do you think she's an Ojo laugher? I can see it. Perhaps she didn't hear me, as the next moment she tugs on my sleeve. My heart leaps at the feel of her hand on my sleeve, and joy and guilt plague me as I allow her to drag me along. Taking the cup from her, I sip on the coffee Nety made for us. While I don't particularly like it black, the bitterness and the perfect temperature warm my cold body and revive my mind. Doesn't mind, man. It sends my mind into like 30 different directions at once. Knowing that it was proving difficult for me to gather information alone, she suggested we work together. So it's a natural question. Working together with Nety had cleared my head, and that's when the idea had come to me. I realized that instead of my fellow students, I could be asking the faculty, both the teachers and the other staff employed at the academy. Damn, that's a pretty bad sprain. I've had sprains that bad. Like, I used to sprain, my left ankle's really screwed up because I used to sprain it a lot when I was younger. And the last time it happened, when I was probably like 16 or 17, I had to go to the hospital because I thought it was broken and I could not walk on it for like a week and a half. And then ever since then, kind of had issues with it. It makes playing double bass kind of a pain while drumming these days. It's a lot harder. As I've grown older, that stuff doesn't necessarily get better. So it's actually a lot harder to do some drummy type stuff these days because of it. Which is exactly why I can't forgive it. I verbally nudge Nety for her in, and she takes out a file in the Academy's almanacs and spreads it open on the desk. Imagine that! There's not any mention of it. Never could have guessed that. Okay, so we got another being taken away kind of mystery on our hands. Yeah, it sounds probably a bit more supernatural than everything else. Drinking my coffee, I turn to the glaring question. Until now, the apparitions seem to have been relegated to a side note in some dusty almanacs. So how did it take root amongst the student population so fast? I don't particularly want to go with Nety to the place where Ringo and I shared many secret dates, but...
たコーヒーを入れてあげるから。
Great, more coffee, let's go, she says brightly, and there's no way I can argue.
この石畳のところでゆずり葉を待っていて襲われた。
Narrowing my eyes against the cold, red remnants of the day's sun, I stare up at the chapel.
鐘楼のルーガル。身を潜めると言っても聖堂周りの森か地下劇場くらいしかないだろうに。
鐘楼には鐘を鳴らす機会はあるのだろうし。
Go up there, you could fight the belfry gargoyles, maybe.
潜めないかしら。
They're probably hanging out up there. What if we got the wrong idea? What if it's just a Dark Souls boss hanging out up there? She got ambushed. It happens. It happens to the best of us. I knocked my heel against the ground where only my footprints had remained.
無理だな。鍵は教諭方が厳重に保管しているし、鐘楼に通じる扉は年に一度整備の際にしか開かない。
After looking around the area for the umpteenth time, Nety puts her hand on her cheek, her eyes narrowed in thought.
やっぱりおとぎ話のような印象ね。
実がなさすぎる。
ゆずり葉の話を聞くと余計にそう思えてきたわ。例えば、そうね。 夜遅くに聖堂で相引きするような人を咎めるために流したとか。
Huh. I mean, that is... It's not a bad line of thought.
耳が痛い。
ごめんなさい。でも、してはいけないことを暗に咎めるための装置のような気がするの。夜爪を切ると
Yeah, like they say that all the time. Like of all, like, you know, like one of the things like I hear at least twice a week is that, you know, if you cut your nails at night, you won't get to be with your parents when they die. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
それって昔は明かりが薄暗かったから深爪しないようにするための方便だろ？
ええ、そのものつまり方便よ。別の例としてあげるなら。 鐘楼に登ろうとする生徒が多かったので、学院側で流した。
Again, you know, if you got kids trying to scale a damn tower, buy them a Nintendo. They're gonna stop that shit. Give these kids something to do. They are very clearly want for things to do. We're getting into conspiracy theory territory here. I laugh, but her brows furrow and she regards me reproachfully.
茶化しているわけじゃない。だが、実際として襲われたんだ。夜更かしをする子供にお化けが出るぞと脅かす話で済んでいない。
I remind her that someone really was hurt. Plus, the culprit left no prints at the scene of the crime.
足跡が。
用意周到な相手さ。まさか足跡を消すことで。 幽霊が相手だと思う。
A cynical smile tugs at the corners of my lips, but
そう、ゆずり葉の足跡だけが。
seeing the furrow form between her brows and the way that she touches her ear, a sure tell that she's deep in thought, I feel happy.
こんなにも親身になってくれるなんて。
This is, yeah, it's definitely a weird situation. I don't know. Like, I feel like she's just doing the best she can to try and be as normal as possible because she, you know, whether she's hurt or not, she clearly understands that, like, Yuzu is in an absolutely awful position. Like, she absolutely knows that things are absolutely awful for this girl right now, so... having my best friend here with me, the same as ever, serves to bring a light tranquility to the stormy seas of my heart. In my efforts to solve the case of the werewolf of the bell tower, I've gathered plenty of information. I also have several clues to work with. However, like the scattered pieces of a puzzle, they still don't form a complete picture. I can see what the picture should look like, but it's distorted and hardly something I can show to others at this point. Yo, we big nomin', can we get a BLT? Scarfing down a late lunch, I turn the pieces over in my head, trying to decide which to place down first. There are a few possible candidates, but they all seem too big for the space. Too unrealistic. Then... That's a good point. You're ruining food with all the smart braining. Stop it. I've heard her say that meals are sacred and deserve to be enjoyed independent of anything else going on. Being distracted by something else while eating is apparently rude, and I agree with her. Yeah, you gotta savor the BLT, man. I don't know how many times this game has made me want a BLT, and I've straight up not gotten one. We're gonna have to remedy that shit. Bacon, lettuce, tomato, and mayo. A perfect BLT sandwich. It's Sunday, so I can take a leisurely lunch in the gazebo without worrying about the time. One of life's little luxuries. Or it would be, usually. I remember sharing sandwiches here with her back at the very beginning of autumn. Crisp bacon and crunchy lettuce and tomato. Fragrant coffee. Oh. The aroma really is in the air, and I look around for the source. A soft, gentle voice addresses me. I'm not giving you my BLT. Yeah, you can't have it. The memory of that night when she rejected me rears its unwelcome head, making me want to turn away out of pure awkwardness. But my best friend is smiling at me like nothing's changed. Her smile melts my heart and I give in. Yeah, you ain't winning against her. I told her about how I went to meet Ringo at the chapel. How I'd waited and waited before going to her room. How I'd then learned that she'd been attacked in front of the chapel. And how she'd suffered a horrible sprain to her ankle. I told her about anything that stood out, the chronology of events, and the mud on Ringo's shoes, how the prints around the chapel had been erased. I told Nety all of it. I find it easier when I'm processing my thoughts to talk them through out loud with someone, and I have a habit of getting carried away like this. Although I suppose it's easy to talk about precisely because it's with Nety. She murmurs, touching her earlobe, a sign that she's in deep thought. You figure it out already? She turns a hazy gaze on me like she's awakening from a deep sleep, then blinks to clear the clouds away. Yeah, I was about to say. Still curious as to what exactly was bugging her, I focus on enjoying the delicious coffee. Yeah, that'll do it. Is that your answer? We've been out here actually trying to solve it. This is actually your answer? She genuinely means it, but the suggestion makes me uncomfortable. I suddenly don't feel like continuing this conversation. Yeah, I feel that. It's not something I should have said in front of a devout Christian, but I don't feel like taking it back. Yeah, sometimes you kind of gotta have your little barbs sometimes. It's like, you know what? Yeah, like, I really feel this way. I'm sorry, but sometimes religion's kind of poopy. Nety's reproachful gaze remains trained on me as she sips her coffee.
そういえばウェンディゴの件はどうなったの？
She changes the subject. She must know that debating religion with me would simply be a waste of time.
ウェンディゴね。確かに以前はよく聞いた噂話だ。
Are we gonna try to wrangle that one back in because it was brought up at the beginning of this?
まるで精霊のルガルに取って代わられて食べられて
Yeah, it's so weird how that... I'm not seeing how they connect. I don't know why the Wendigo came up again. I can't help but chuckle at her graphic phrasing. Still,
森をさまようウェンディゴか。片場未領長にはもう餌付けはしていないと現状だった。
ねえゆずりは時間があればだけどウェンディゴ探しに出かけてみない？
I don't know that that's... I mean, given that it's where this whole episode started, maybe there's something in still trying to approach it from the Wendigo angle, but I don't know.
時間はないと言いたいが。
I want to say I don't have any to spare, but I can't deny I'm at a standstill with the werewolf right now. I mean, I guess that's a good point. I hesitate for a moment.
そうだね。
A little off-season hiking, all right.
季節外れのハイキングと行こう。
Are we gonna head out into the woods? The forest is still clinging to its autumn colors, but the air now harbors a chill that heralds the change of seasons. Feeling the icy sting on my cheeks, I brush my fingers across my skin. I'm surprised to discover how cold I am.
そろそろ冬服の出番だな。
Oh, winter uniforms! I want to see!
ねえゆずりは
I imagine they're probably gonna look somewhat similar to the fall uniforms with the cardigan, but I still want to see.
なんだい？
佐々木りんごさんの怪我ひどいの？
そうだな。ただの捻挫というよりはひどく痛めている。しばらくは教室でなく自室で自習するそうだよ。
そう
She asks me if it was Ringo's right leg that she hurt.
足首の捻挫だな。僕の弟が以前サッカーの試合で同じ箇所を痛めただろう。
そう
Her eyes are narrowed as she's touching her ear, and as she's wont to do when in deep thought. I really wish she would pay more attention when she's walking.
つまずいて怪我をするぞ。
Although she mumbles her agreement, she doesn't pull herself out of her musings. And, as I warned, she almost tripped several times on our way to the spot where dorm mother Katabami had been feeding the raccoon. Thankfully, though, we make it there in one piece, and when we arrive, there, at the base of a particularly large tree, you're not again.
これって
誰かがここで野生動物へ
Again? Bits of vegetables from the school allotments are strewn around the ground in the exact same place as before.
確か以前学院生徒が餌付けをしている
Yeah?
ああ、それはすでに教諭方へ報告し注意済みだよ。
なら言葉が届いていなかったようね
She mutters with a frown. However,
それはどういうことだ？
yeah, what in the world? At first, it had been a group of students looking after an injured raccoon. Then, after they'd been found out and told off, dorm mother Katabami had released it back into the forest. But due to her kind nature, she kept on bringing it food until it was fully healed.
片上領長が釘を刺されたことで自分では世話ができなくなったため、初めに見つけた生徒らにやらせている。
That seems like a weird... Where are we going
領
with
長がどうか
this?
したの？
Nothing.
もしかして餌付けを行っているのが片上領長だというの？
We gonna try and keep that on the down low? Did I accidentally voice my inner thoughts? That's not like me. Guess I'm feeling more hard-pressed than I realized. I've made a big blunder in not being more aware of myself.
きちんと話して私に話さないことなの
That's a dirty card. Why are you playing that card? Her eyes shine with sincerity.
誰にも話さないと約束するなら
Knowing that she's not going to let this go, I heave a sigh at my oversight, then go on to tell her the whole story.
そう片上寮長が
ウェンディゴの正体がロマンがないもので悪いがこの件は
Okay, but...
ええ黙っているわきちんと反省してもう行わないとおっしゃっているのだし
目下のところそいつが問題になってくるな
The only sound is the dry crunch of leaves beneath our feet as we make our way back to the school buildings.
片上寮長には再度尋ねてみるよ寮長でなく生徒らが行っているのだとしても
黙っていてほしい今は大ごとにしたくない
Yeah, like, we probably need to keep this on the down low, because this is definitely, again, a pretty weird development, and we don't want to spook anybody off.
二階屋の会の選挙も迫っているからね
白羽さんに余計な辛労をかけたくないものね
I nod and Nety smiles.
この選挙が終わって二階屋の会主催のクリスマス会を終えたら私たち2年生はお役ごめんね
It's a prospect that fills me with both sadness and relief as I find myself lost for a response. I spoke with dorm mother Katabami again, but
片上寮長も寝耳に水といった風だったな
I used my mind-reading powers to their fullest extent to peer into the windows of her eyes, but her inner room looked exactly the same. Even if she was lying to cover for someone, I would have been able to spot something. Of course, a lack of change can be just as telling when intuiting what someone's thinking, but
そいつもない
I continue my internal monologue.
ウェンディゴが
So we,
眠っているという
This is so weird. I don't know where I genuinely have no idea where we're going with this. It's not like they're making any great mischief. In fact, if you ignore the fact that it goes against the school rules, they're actually doing a good deed. Even so, there's something about this benevolent Wendigo that I can't shake. Staring up at the clear winter sky, I find something niggling at me. But what? Just then, I hear a faint ring of footsteps and turn to look up the corridor. In the distance, I see a familiar figure raise its hand and glide gracefully toward me.
お久しぶりです
Hey, how's it going?
先輩久しぶりというにはあいや立っていたかもしれないな
I don't know, given everything Yuzu's been through, I'm pretty sure every day feels like it's like 76 hours right now. This girl is just not getting a break. She elegantly covers her mouth to hide her smile. I warn her that if she's spotted talking to me, it could affect her chances in the election.
そんなことで落ちるなら落ちても構いません八代先輩とリンゴさんは何も悪いことをしていないじゃないですか
Well, look at you. Rika. Pretty cool, Rika. She says that like it's completely natural, and I feel my heart clench in my chest.
スオ君が頼りにするのもわかる頼れる相棒だスオさんが私のこと
Let's
何ですか
pull reverse here a little bit. Let's pop that right up into reverse just a tiny bit.
いや僕の感想だよ客観的に見ても
I'm sure she can rely on you, but you know, there's nothing here. She didn't say anything. Let's not get the cart before the horse here, like this girl tends to do.
そうですか
She seems both disappointed and pleased at the same time. I ask her if she's here to see the dorm mother.
ええ実は会長選に立候補する条件が最後の討論会だけになったのを報告しようと思いました
Oh damn, look at you!
おお二つ 目の難関を通ったことは聞いていたが、3つ目も通っていたとはね。
Y'all are a shoe-in for the... You all are a shoe-in to be able to register.
はい、教職員から1名以上の推薦を受ける。推薦状は片踏寮長からいただいたんです。
Well, ain't that nice? I nod. Actually, I'd figured she'd get hers from Sister Basquiat, but maybe she wanted to avoid any implication of unfairness in going to her own homeroom teacher, and so went to dorm Mother Katabami instead.
寮長として注目されがちだが、2年生の礼法やガーデニングの授業の教鞭をとっている。
Sure would like to attend those classes.
最後の難関、討論会ですけど、過去どんな議題が挙げられたとか教えてもらうというのは。
さすがにそいつは無理な相談だ。僕の時も事前に何を
Gonna have to wing it, girl. It's the best way to do it.
過去問の提示もなかったしね。
そうですよ。
Her braids droop dejectedly. I love that her braids are almost sentient in that the way they describe them sometimes, and that her braids are just drooping on their own. Like they lose that little cowlick at the end where the braids are tied and they just like... Given that I owe her for standing up for Ringo, I decide I can spill some of the beans, at least provided it doesn't give her an unfair advantage.
議題や流れは話せないが、審査するのは通例、教職員が2名、2回の会の者が3名。そのうち4名が弁論を聞いてふさわしい。
4 out of the 5. Just 80%.
4名ですか？それってとても狭きもんじゃ。
With your charming personality, I would say you got 3 of them in the bag for just showing up. You just gotta snag one more.
だから最後の難関なのさ。教職員も2回の会の者もランダムに選ばれる。
Well, I mean, you're literally perfect, though.
ということは真面目に答えれば大丈夫なのですね。
3つまでの立候補要項を達成することができる生徒はままいるが、最後の討論会だけは10人受けて1人くらいの難易度だったな。
それって
Thanks for the vote of
全然
confidence.
大丈夫じゃないじゃないですか。
Listen to her. Oh, she's a wreck.
議題は1つだけではないし、おっと、口を滑らせた。
Oops! Forget I said anything.
まあ平気だろう。スオ君は僕と同じ匂いがするしね。
スオさんが
1年前の僕よりも優秀だよ、彼女は。以前は頼り投げなところもあったが、今は確固たる。
Yeah, this girl is like a raging ball of fire of determination.
そう。
I don't think she's gonna have any issues whatsoever in pulling this off. I thought she'd be happy to hear that, but instead she lowers her gaze to her feet. I ask her what's the matter.
スオさんが生徒会選挙に立候補すると聞かされたとき、驚いたんです。普段のスオさんなら目立つことをしたくないって性格だし。
私との約定だ。生徒会長になった暁に学院の謎を教える。
でもスオさんの意志は固くて、私彼女のスオさんの一番のアミティエでいたいから支えることにしたんです。
副会長になって支えようとした。
はい、私の立候補の理由は一緒にいたいから。でも
Oh, so, oh, interesting little wrinkle here. And that, that's interesting. She'd probably regret asking. If Suo-kun didn't answer, then she'd think she didn't trust her. And if she did answer, yep, indeed. Hanabishi-kun's never going to be number 1. Man, that just stinks, doesn't it? Oh, that's gotta hurt so bad. I empathize strongly with Rika Hanabishi.
それでいいと思う。尋ねたいけれど尋ねられないというのは臆病だから。
Aww, it's a good way of spinning it.
君の優れた資質だ。問うことでスオ君を傷つけてしまうかもしれないと思っているのだろう。
はい。でも
自分に理由を吐露してくれないことに胸苦しさを覚える。それもわかる。君は
八代先輩。
スオ君は聡明だ。今は語るべきではないと判断しているのだろう。そして話せる時が来たら一番の親友の
Aww.
思いを語ってくれるだろう。
She closes her eyes for a moment, as though chewing over my words, then nods decisively.
ありがとうございます。少し心のモヤモヤが晴れました。
これだけ話して少し
Just a bit? Like, I put all this effort into bigging you up, and this is all you got? Just a tiny bit?
やっぱり八代先輩はすごいです。大人だわ。私も年を重ねればいろいろなことが見えてくるのかしら。
父が言っていたが、年を重ねて40にして惑わずという言葉、不惑とあるが今が一番ワクワクしていると言ったぞ。
それってダメってことじゃ。でもワクワクってな。
We share a laugh. It's been a while since I laughed out loud, and I feel my spirits lift.
あ、そうだ。片踏寮長へ報告してからリンゴさんのお見舞いに伺おうと思っているのですけど、ご一緒にどうですか？
I don't know.
そいつはいい提案だ。
Oh, hey, we're gonna do it. I thought she would back out.
今くらいなら大丈夫？
大丈夫だ。
Why wouldn't it be?
足の怪我がひどくてずっと授業を休んでいるんです。それで今まで距離を
Oh, okay. Everybody's doing that thing where, like, they feel really bad for treating her like crap, so everybody's showing up. They're probably, like, bringing her lunch, bringing her candy, bringing her cakes and cookies and tea. Everybody's, like, bending over backwards to, alleviate themselves of, like, I'm not a bad person. I'm actually a good person. So Ringo's also been able to patch things up with her classmates who had been giving her the cold shoulder. That's yet another load off my mind.
お化けに驚いて捻挫したという話です。
A monster!
ああ、だが相手が怪異とはいえ許せそうにない。
Seems like the good-natured class president has swallowed the rumors that it was a monster that came at Ringo without a question.
でもケムクジャラの狼男ってさすがにそんなお化けいるわけないですよね。
さて、見間違いということもある。
She might have been mistaken. Who's to say? Maybe there is a werewolf on campus.
見間違い。そうですね。ケムクジャラとかなら動物が突然現れたのを見間違えたのか
I
もしれ
mean,
ないですし。
sure, it could have been an animal, but I mean, werewolves have fur too. That makes me think of the injured raccoon and the Wendigo.
そうでなく驚かせた。
Maybe she scared
それ
it.
なら罪は。
Uh-huh.
どうしたのですか？
いや、見方を変え。
I'm turning the chessboard around. Rika-kun's words have dug a loose fragment of thought lodged somewhere deep in my mind.
視点の変換。被害者と犯人。切り分けた捉え方をすれば。
The previously scattered pieces come together and fall silently into place. Looking at it that way, it all makes sense, but this means...
八代先輩。
いや、すまない。ぼーっとしてしまった。
I went to the brain zone and figured it out.
保健室へ行きます？
大丈夫。低血圧だからたまにあるんだ。まず、片場寮長への報告を済ましてきたまえ。僕はここで待っていよう。
Fiddling restlessly with her braids, she looks up at me worriedly, but then...
わかりました。すぐ済ませるので待っていてくださいね。
Pulling out my stopwatch right now. With that, she trots into the dorm mother's room.
さて、どうしたものかね。
What am I gonna do about this? Her words have brought me to my conclusion. I still haven't been able to substantiate whether it's correct or not, but I think I'm probably on the money. Having found the key to the mystery is all well and good, but the new burden this knowledge has placed on me has me wanting to tear my hair out. Oh dear. To be honest, I've become fairly disenchanted about identifying the culprit behind the werewolf of the bell tower incident. And that's because, after conversing with Rika-kun a few days earlier, I now have reason to believe I know both the identity and the motive of the culprit. I've been agonizing over whether it's best to keep quiet and say nothing, or whether I should confront them. However... Oh, whoa, we got like... Whoa, look at this. We got a whole thing going on here. This has to be serious. Dahlia's here. Other girls are now here. They are in a CG. Other characters now canonically exist within the Flowers verse. The Council of Nikaya has been spurred into action, resolving to search for the culprit behind the werewolf incident. And all the while, I've still been wondering whether or not I should condemn them for their crime.
八代さん、どうぞ。
Okie doke. So I told the council I would inform them of what I knew about the circumstances surrounding the incident. Sister Basquiat is also here as a representative of the teaching staff, along with... Yep. The Vice President, Narine Komikado, who's gazing at me somberly.
さて、何から話すべきか。
Of course, I don't intend to reveal the whole story while I'm still wavering. Instead, I plan to take a leaf out of Yagaki-san's book and reveal enough information and conjectures to convince my audience while obscuring the rest.
すべて初めからお話ししてください。
Okay. With that encouragement, in front of the entire Council of Nikaya, I start explaining how I had set out to meet Ringo at the chapel. I tell them how I had waited, and then, finding it strange that she didn't show up, I'd gone to her room. Of course, we'd been having regular secret dates at the chapel for a while, but I can't exactly reveal that in front of Sister Basquiat. For her part, Sister Basquiat doesn't seem particularly intent on finding fault, and lets me continue with a brief warning not to act imprudently. Going back to my story, I tell them how, when I went to Ringo's room, I learned that she'd been attacked by a werewolf and injured. To help guide their thinking, I lay out the chronology in great detail and emphasize the severity of the sprains she sustained as she tried to flee.
襲われた。悪意ある第三者がいるように聞こえますね。
Looking out at my audience as they discuss their theories amongst themselves, I spread my arms dramatically.
そして、鐘楼のルーガルと森をさまようウェンディゴの
Okay, we're going this route. We're gonna actually make this connection. I do declare. Looks like I've successfully shaped the narrative in such a way that they're open to this unexpected
それ
revelation.
は
晩秋に起きたウェンディゴの事件ですが、あれは怪我をした野生動物を傷が癒えるまでの間保護し餌を与えていたことが始まりであり理由だった。
Of course, they didn't know that it was dorm Mother Katabami who was behind it, but they have heard about the students who were keeping the animal in their dorm room to start with. I explained how the students had continued to feed vegetables to the creature even after it was released back into the woods, and that they had carried them in a white sack, and how that sack had come to be mistaken for the Wendigo of the Seven Mysteries, which was described as a white shadow.
学院の規律においては非難されることだが、善行だ。それほど非難されることではない。ですよね、バスキア教諭。
Wink, wink. Oh, it's kind of nice to like maybe dagger her a little bit every now and again, just because, you know, that's just between us. Getting the hint that she shouldn't bring up dorm Mother Katabami's involvement, she goes along with me, albeit half-heartedly.
この善行だが、一つ厄介なことを引き起こしてしまった。餌付け？この学院には冬になっても食べられる餌があると野生動物は知ったのさ。食べ物の少ない冬の森で餌を探さなくてもいいとね。
まさか。
そう。佐々木りんごが言った。ケムクジャラというのは野生動物を見かけ驚き。
And in her panic, she hurt her ankle, I add. My audience turned to one another, discussing the consistency of this plausible explanation. However,
今の話が落としどころだということがわかるだろう。
there's no culprit to pin the blame on. It was driven by the actions of a well-intentioned group of students. The only culprit is a wild animal. It didn't even come after her. It was simply startled by the sight of it. It's an awfully convenient explanation, but it hurts no one.
一つ質問があります。
どうぞ。
佐々木さんの怪我ですが、拝見したところ随分とひどい捻挫でした。一歩間違えれば折れているほどの。その驚いてくじいたにしては。
She trails off, and following the thread of my argument, she finds the conclusion starts to unravel.
あの日はひどい雨が降っていました。驚き滑ったのならどうでしょうか。
Sister Basquiat nods slightly at my suggestion, but then carries on with another question.
佐々木りんごさんはケムクジャラの狼男だとおっしゃいました。毛に覆われていることに関して言えば、動物でも特進がいくのですが。
She trails off, but her question is implicit. How could she have mistaken an animal for a human?
バスキア教諭が食い下がるのは予想外だが。
Still, I have a few ideas in mind for how to get people off the trail of the werewolf if I lead them down one of these other paths. A flurry of whispers catches my attention. For a moment, I think it's because my silence has got people agreeing with Sister Basquiat's doubts. But that's not it. It's because of Narine Komikado. She stood up from her seat and is staring at me with teary eyes.
皆さんに
What?
お話ししておかなければなりません。
Yo, what's... My best friend. She keeps going.
八代会長がおっしゃった佐々木りんごさんが怪我を負った事件ですが。
Yo, what? What's going on? What are you doing? For some reason, my mind's eye is filled with a vision of a desolate wasteland.
今まで語ったことは
What are you doing?
優しい嘘なの。
Why are you unraveling this? Wait a minute. The wasteland scene shifts, a stormy wind blowing from the leaden skies to lash cold rain against my cheeks.
佐々木りんごさんを突き飛ばし怪我を負わせたのは
What are you saying? Stop.
醜いし
No, it wasn't. What? I don't believe this for a second. I don't know. Don't believe it for a fucking second. There is no way. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that, Chief. But we're gonna let that sit for now, because I think that that's a real funny and mean place to stop. But I also kind of figure if we keep going, that's gonna be like another 30 or 40 minutes. And I'm kind of tired. I'm recording this one a little later at night. It's like 11:30, but I've been up since like 6 this morning, so that's a good place to stop for now. Okay, I was like fully expecting to just solve the mystery there, though. I was fully expecting us to just solve the mystery there and then be on to the next chapter. I was not expecting this late minute. I was not expecting this last minute, this fourth quarter, fourth and goal, Hail Mary, whatever Nerine Komikado is trying to do. I don't understand it, but hopefully it'll make more sense the next time we were together. So, in the meantime, I hope you have a nice rest of your whatever. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time.